Hi, this is John from Flat 6 Motorsports, and we're back with another episode of the Macan build series. And today we're going to be installing the AMS or Alpha Performance intercooler system. And while we're down there, we're also going to put in the Flat 6 Motorsports diverter valves because it's super easy. We're going to have to pull the front bumper off, so we're going to show you kind of all the steps involved so that if you're doing intercoolers or diverter valves, you'll know how to take the front bumper off. It's not too hard. This whole install is pretty straightforward. We're going to show you all the steps. Now, intercoolers are very important, especially in modern turbocharged vehicles. They use a lot of boost pressure to make power, and with boost pressure, that creates heat. So after time, what happens is that charge starts heating up, the intercoolers become a little ineffective over time, the stock ones, and it creates higher intake air temperatures, or IATs, which robs power. And we see this on the dyno when we're doing polls and testing with the stock intercoolers. After on our third run, we start getting heat soaked, power starts coming down, we have to let the car sit. Now on the road, you're gonna get a little more forced air in there, it's gonna be a little more effective, but if you're somebody who's done a few quarter-mile passes with your car, you probably noticed after a few, you're gonna start getting heat soak. And heat is the enemy of power and the enemy of reliability. So we're gonna put on these AMS intercoolers, help take this car to new heights in terms of cooling. That allows us to put a little more boost pressure, and eventually we're gonna upgrade the turbo, so we're gonna absolutely need these intercoolers. It's a very good upgrade for anybody who wants a long-term solution with a tuned Macan. So let's get started. All right, so to access the intercoolers, we're gonna have to remove the front bumper completely. To remove the front bumper, we're gonna have to remove all these plastic trays underneath. Very easy. If you don't have one of these tools, I highly recommend picking them up. Very easy to pull off these push clips with. So let's just go ahead and pull all these off. All right, before we put the car up on the lift, we're gonna go ahead and loosen the wheel bolts on the wheels because we're gonna have to take the wheels off to get the wheel liners off. And before we do that, we're just gonna go ahead and take all the top side torque screws off. They're held on by a bunch of T30 torque screws. So we're gonna go across the top, take all those out, and then we'll put the car up on the lift, take the wheels off, the wheel liners out, and then the front bumper will come right off once we take the screws on underneath off. And we'll show you all that. So let's get going. All right, so we have the Macan up on the lift. There's a bunch of torque screws holding on this bottom tray. We're gonna need to remove all of this so that the bumper can come off. So Chris is gonna follow me along and we're just gonna take these out. All right, so now that we have all the screws off, we're gonna take the front bumper off. This is best done with some help. As we're pulling this off, we're probably gonna have to disconnect the side markers and anything else that connects to the front parking sensors and fog lights. So Chris is gonna give me a hand just pulling this off. All right, so we have the intercoolers here. These are the AMS or Alpha Performance intercoolers. The cores are made by Garrett versus the OEM ones. And as you can see, they're just a lot thicker cores, aluminum end tanks instead of plastic. Basically gonna allow, I think it's like 43% more cooling capacity. I'll have Chris come in here with the camera just to show you the difference between the size of these cores. So the surface area is roughly the same. They're gonna have a little bit bigger ducting coming in to help support the cooling. But as you can see, quite a significant difference in the thickness of these cores, which will help allow heat to dissipate and the charge temps to be lower. All right, so each kit comes with custom carbon fiber shrouds enlarged to support these intercoolers. They're very beautiful as well. And silicone tubes that have better thermal properties than the rubber. Everything is high quality machine stuff here, clamps, everything you need to complete the install. So the diverter valves are available at flat6motorsports.com. We partnered with Evolution Motorsports to create these specifically for the Macan. Installation is pretty easy. You just replace the factory plastic ones. You can slide them in. We recommend not using any lubricant here because they could slide off. So if you have a tough time getting them in,
you could use some soapy water. I also recommend that the neck of these can get twisted sometimes if you're sitting back and forth twisting it, so just make sure that's on tight before you put everything back together.
All right, so just a little mid-install update. We've fitted the driver's side intercooler. We're gonna do the passenger side next, get this all connected and hooked up. Install is pretty straightforward. Some limited access in certain areas to take some of the charge piping off and on. A little quirky, but pretty straightforward for the most part. We're gonna get this other intercooler on, and then we're gonna begin putting everything back together. We'll start just to make sure there's no leaks coming out of the system, but we don't expect any. All the hardware is pretty good. So let's get back to putting this together. All right, so we've had the intercoolers on the Macan for quite a few weeks after we shot the video to get some good road testing with them. We haven't put it back on the dyno, but we suspect we'll see consistent performance on the dyno as well with these larger cores. But on the street, consistent performance, time after time, pull after pull. These are a really good upgrade, especially with tuning. As you increase boost pressure, it's going to increase heat, so this helps dissipate that heat in a very efficient manner. So really good. This is going to be absolutely critical when we do our turbo upgrade kit as well. So if you're interested in this kit, it's available at flat6motorsports.com. We also have more technical information and photography available to check it out. And definitely stay tuned. We're gonna put those upgraded turbochargers on in an upcoming episode. We have a few more parts we're gonna put on first, but really excited about this build and get testing higher and higher power. Our goal is to make the fastest Macan in the world, so stay tuned. Thanks.